Good evening, everyone. Welcome and thank you for joining us for this 3-day symposium. Do come over the next 2 days also. What we're trying to do here is to bring uh, the experience across several domains for both those who have autism as well as the families, and also looking at the larger perspective. So, over the 3 days, we will be covering a range of topics, and I would just like to give you a brief introduction about it. Autism is something that has been studied for now nearly about 80 plus years. What was once considered a very rare disorder, something very unique in the 1940s, identified parallelly by Leo Kanner and Hans Asperger, it was considered an extremely rare disorder. But over the last 80 years, things have changed enormously. From being 1 in 10,000, we are now talking about the incidence being 1 in about 40 to 50 children. And that is a huge, steep upward curve. So, given that and given what we have experienced regarding autism and the changes that have come about in our perception of children in the world. And this is something that we need to appreciate and address. So we will have the different perspectives covered for the first 20, 30 years after autism was identified. That's from about 1940 to 70. It was generally unknown to the general public, and except for a few people who worked with children and particularly in large institutions, hospitals, where this was seen as a mental health issue primarily, things dramatically changed from the 1970s onwards, largely due to the increasing number. And from the 1970s to about the turn of the century, this was the way autism was perceived. So there was a range of people involved. Each one looked at a certain aspect and thought that was autism. So from the year 2000 onwards, things have changed dramatically once again. And we now see it as a spectrum where there are differences, but differences which are positive as well as some that interfere with the child's well being. So things have changed dramatically, and now there is a strong movement towards recognizing it as neurodiversity, as children who are extraordinarily good in certain ways, but in certain skills, but who also have difficulties in uh, adjusting to the world as we know it. So it is this spectrum that we want to introduce to you all so that, one, we learn to appreciate both the difficulties of the youngsters as well as their strengths. We learn to accommodate them as a part of everyday life. So, this is the purpose of this symposium, and we have an array of speakers. I do hope that you will come across the 3 days, interact with the speakers, and join us in our efforts to make the world a friendlier place for the children. So today, when I say children, of course, I've worked with largely with children, so I keep saying children, but a lot of them are not children, as you will see today. A lot of them have grown up. To me, they are still children, but they're all youngsters now, living their own independent lives. You've seen the fabulous artwork that has been exhibited, and some of them are in their 20s today, who are creating this beautiful art. So the first day today is the lived experiences of autism. So we will have a young man, Pranav Sai, who was with us in our early intervention program way back in the early 2000. I started the program in 2000, and I think he was with us around 2003, 4, around that time. He will speak about his own experience as well as that of his younger sister, Latika. Then we will have Kajal Roy, who is a mother of a youngster who was diagnosed with ASD. She will speak about what it meant to have her child diagnosed with ASD and how she had to struggle to meet with the different needs of this youngster. So we have a lot to learn from Kajal and Aditya. And the third speaker is Mr. G. Vijaya Raghavan, who has been in the forefront of helping people who are differently abled. He was instrumental in starting institutions which cater to a range of people, and for the last 10 years, 7 years. He has been very active in Kerala, interacting with people with autism, families of children with autism. So they will bring to you the personal experiences, and Mr. Vijay Raghavan will talk about the larger social responsibility. So today is about personal experiences and what we as a society need to learn from them and learn how to accommodate their needs. So, without much ado, I will go on to uh, inviting Pranav Sai, who is right here with us. This is how Pranav would like to be introduced. I have memories of Pranav and his sister Latika that go back 20 years plus. Pranav was enrolled in our early intervention program way back in 2002 3. And at that time, um, uh, his mother had conceived her second child, and she had gone home for the delivery to her parents' place. I remember, some of these memories are etched into your brains. I remember Priya coming back with this little girl in her arms, 5-month-old baby with the big eyes, okay, and looking at us, interacting with us. And I remember distinctly telling Priya, at least with this one, you won't have to worry. When Latika turned 9 months old, Priya walked into my office and she said, I want you to see Latika. And I just dismissed her, saying, don't get paranoid. I've seen the baby. She's a lovely baby. What are you worried about? When Latika turned 11 months, Priya stomped into my office with Latika in her arms and said, I want you to look at Latika. Okay. And the Kannans have done a tremendous job of supporting both of their children. You will meet them, you will hear them. Pranav.
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. I am Pranav, and I'm going to share my experience growing up as an autistic child and also growing up with my sister, who's also an autistic child. But first, let me show you a picture. Can someone tell me what you see in this picture? Okay, a vase, um, two people looking at each other. A vase, two people looking at each other. Yeah. A cutout, a keyhole. It could be anything, right? Okay. Now, can you tell me what you see here? Yeah, it's the same thing on the table, but I want you guys to look at there. Like, tell me any one word you see. Yes, it could be. It could be no. Okay, so let's have a look at the reality. Autism, same image, two perspectives. And in the same object, we had two words. And in the same world, we have two experiences. The first one is your world, and the second one is ours, which is autism. We perceive the world very differently. Uh, oh, and I like to take you on a journey of my life, starting with my childhood days. And this is my mother holding me. Yes, I look very cute. So, uh, this is how it started. When I was a small baby, babies, right? They're small, they're cute, they um, they even cry a lot. But I didn't cry a lot. In fact, I didn't even cry when I was hungry. But instead, when my mother brought food close to my mouth, I'll open my mouth like this. But it only got worse from there. One day, when I was around a year or two old, um, I touched my right leg on the bike exhaust pipe and suffered a severe burn. But the thing was that I didn't cry because I couldn't feel the pain. And the next day, when my mother found it out, she freaked out, and that's when they found out that I was diagnosed with autism. And slowly, I also developed sensitivity to sound, especially loud sounds. Especially the sounds of a pressure cooker and balloons popping. I remember that when I was in the kitchen, I when I was in the kitchen and when there was a pressure cooker that was about to go off, I just closed my ears like this. And whenever a balloon popped, it sounded like loud explosions in my ears. And I remember this one incident where like I went back to my school, nursery school, after 3 months. And when the teacher asked me that, Pranav, why were you absent? I couldn't think of a like. I knew I was absent. I knew that I was absent because my grandmother was ill, and that I had to stay at my native place for 3 months. But I know how to express it. And yeah, and then there's also another incident where me and my classmates were sitting outside the school. I was still in nursery that time, and I get my chocolate. I get my 5 rupee wala Milky Bar. Like it was as long as this. Yeah, I kept that in my right pocket, and then I suddenly noticed that my chocolate was missing. But that time I couldn't, I didn't know what to do, so I kept crying, and after a while I asked my teacher for my chocolate. I asked everyone where's my chocolate. They didn't give, but I couldn't get it back. Instead, my teacher brought me another chocolate, so I should really thank her for that. So, so there are a few things that we can take from my experience. The first one was that I was unable to express hunger, pain, or any other feelings. Well, I couldn't even cry when I was hungry. I was not able to communicate with others. A normal baby would at least say a few words, whereas um, I didn't even, I couldn't even say a single word at that time, and I was not able to feel any pain in my body. Now let's go to my school days. So I faced a lot of difficulties in my school, and I also come across a lot of pleasant memories. Um, so the first difficulty I had, it was around second grade, where I faced difficulty in writing. A lot of teachers thought that it was because I was autistic in nature. Um, and one of the teachers, she made me sit in the front bench and write, like take down the notes. That's when my parents came to know that I had a poor vision, and that was nothing to do with autism. And I was often bullied, called names, and I craved a lot of attention at that time because me being a special child, I was ignored by a lot of my classmates, which led to me feeling lonely. And there was I remember this one time that my classmates forced me to say a bad word in like around fifth grade, I guess. But later they pinned the blame on me, telling the teacher that I was the one who told them and offended them. The teacher didn't even care to listen to my explanation at that time. She instead believed my classmates. And later my mother had to call the teacher and explain her that I didn't do any wrong. And there's this other, like, and then there was a situation in seventh grade where one of my teachers called up my mother and told her that I was delusional. I was telling things that didn't happen and that I had to be taken to a psychologist. This happened right after a guy in my class tried to steal a thing from me. But once I complained with the teacher, he put it back at my place, making it seem like nothing happened. But then, yeah. But what my mom told after really surprised me. Like, this is around the time where my mother hadn't taken a stand for me. She used to believe a lot of the things that the teacher would say. But this time she told the teacher to and that I was perfect. There was nothing wrong with me, and she told her to question the other boys, and was really happy in that moment. I was also, and around that time, I was also really bad at handling situations. I would often react violently to a simple, uh, silly quarrel. And in sixth grade, which is a year before, like things got really bad that I was really unpredictable for my school, and there was this excursion that I wanted to take part in, but that couldn't that didn't happen because my school they wouldn't take me unless they let one of my parents accompany me. It may sound strange, but they none of them in the school wanted to take responsibility for me, so uh, they wanted either of my parents to accompany me. But despite all that, some of the teachers were really supportive and compassionate. They listened to me without any judgment. They have also given me opportunities to be a leader and to create friendships. And I had a lot of opportunities right from second grade. In second grade, I was made the class monitor for an entire year. And along the way, uh, I've also got many other opportunities to help students and the teachers. And I've also been the band captain in my school in 10th grade. And that's the picture of me right there in my 10th grade during Independence Day or Sports Day. So the things we can take away. So what we can take away from this is that some behavior of the child might be misinterpreted as autistic, but whereas it's from a totally different source. So like yeah, you can take my poor eyesight for example. People would have thought that I was initially a slow writer, and that was a characteristic of me being autistic, but it wasn't. It was instead that I had to wear glasses. And some teachers still don't provide a space for listening for the special child. Maybe it's maybe because they don't know how to handle them, or they're not aware of child with special needs, which is a high time that they better be aware of right now. And I was really bad at I got in a lot of troubles back then. Despite all that, there are good people who will be able to understand your child, provide the space to listen, and yeah. and support them in a good way. So before I proceed, does anyone know this woman here? Yeah, it's Florence Nightingale, also known as Lady with a Lamp. She is the one who founded professional nursing and also healed a lot, and also healed a lot of wounded soldiers in the 19th century during the Victorian era. So just like her, there are a lot of people with the lamp who have healed me throughout my life. First, starting with my mother. My mother stood up for me at times, even when others did not. Right from my birth, she had so much love for me, and she didn't let go of me. She didn't give up on me. She spent a lot of time with me. She had taken me to a lot of well, she had taken me around the city to find the best school for me, and a lot of school had sadly rejected me, but she didn't give up on me, and she took me to therapy sessions just to make sure that I overcome this difficulty which I have. And my father was also very supportive. And my father was also very supportive, both financially and in other ways. The therapist asked me to, and also I had to thank the therapist who have assisted me to integrate with the mainstream education, that is to study in the school, and my empathetic neighbors and relatives, and also my peers, my friends. Despite uh, being bullied a lot, I also had a few people who have stood by me right from my school days. And the last praise should be uh, I should praise the teachers and the management, school management, who have provided me a lot of support. And okay. There's also one thing that one slide that I just added today, which has not been added there. It was supposed to come before this one. So yeah, let me tell that. It was supposed to be a slide. I mean, I was supposed to explain about me transforming myself. Yeah, so um, so like around seventh or eighth grade, I started working on myself, improving my confidence and personality. Um, well, me not being able to go for the trip in the sixth grade, well, that was a turning point in my life. Since then, I've been aware of my actions, and yeah, I made sure that like I don't react much. My parents have also enrolled me in a lot of personality development courses, which improved my creativity and made me think out of the box, and also improved my confidence. And in the journey of my life, here are the some of the strengths that I've discovered. Oops. I was good in academics. Right from first standard, I realized that um, academics was my strong suit. I actually grasped the concepts really well, especially in physics and math, and they're my favorite subjects. I also love to draw and paint, and recently I haven't had time to do that, but I've done a lot of drawings when I was a small kid, and I've also done a lot of paintings. And I'm passionate about electronics, gadgets, technology, and I've done a lot of small projects on my own. And I've recently developed a passion in writing poetry in English. I love to read books, and I have a keen interest in fitness, which also made me participate in some 5 kilometer marathons. And right now I am going to the gym and I'm being regular at it. Um, and right now I'd like to read a poem to all of you. One of my poems. This is a poem that I had written during the Women's Day of this year, and is dedicated to all the hardworking women out here and out in the world. To all the women who give their best despite facing the worst. To all those who navigate life through the storms with an unflinching determination. To those who make a difference in the world despite facing a lot of hardships. To work all day and night at office and home. To all the mothers, sisters, and partners who shower us with your undying love. To those women who bring warmth and comfort to everyone around you. This world would cease to exist without you all. Thank you. Thank you. And the next thing I'd like to show you is uh, a simple creation. Can anyone take a guess what it is? Tell. Yeah. Yeah, it's a fidget spinner. It was actually popular around, I guess, 2016. I don't know if I was in sixth grade at that time, but yeah, I made this around the year 2016 because that's when they were the most popular all over the internet. I just used the zip tag and few ball bearings. Although it's a very simple creation, my mother loves it a lot. Okay, now that's enough about me. I like to talk about my sister, but before that, um, please listen to this.
सबका कहना है 1000 में मेरी बहना है सारी उम्र हमें संग रहना है फूलों का तारों का सबका कहना है सबका कहना है.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about my sister Latika. Latika is a multi-talented. She's a creative, confident young adult who's also in the autism spectrum. She loves to socialize and be in a group. She loves being around people, but she's unable to converse with them for a long time. She's a really keen observer and observes what's happening around her. She's done various stage performances, she's done singing, dancing, and she's won a lot of competitions and prizes for it. Traveling and watching movies are some of the things she loves to do. And she also has a lot of challenges, with the biggest challenge being her anxiety. Her anxiety prevents her from unleashing her true potential, and there are a lot of times where we had to calm her down. Right now, she's only able to communicate her needs while still struggling to communicate to share us her thoughts and feelings. Uh, Things like traffic, pets, fire, lifts, and crowds make her anxious. And there was, and my mother, she shows my sister, like whenever we are traveling, she shows my sister the Google Maps, showing her how long it takes to reach a destination, and that calms her down. That helps her a lot. And I feel helpless when I'm not able to understand what's bothering her. There are a lot of times I wish I could understand her better, and I know that I know I will. And let me read this quote by Albert Einstein. Everybody's a genius, But if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it is stupid. So, in the same way, my sister shouldn't be judged by what she cannot do, but rather by what she can do. And she's a really gifted child. From from being a great singer who understands the nuances of the music on her own, to dancing so confidently on the stage, she, she sets the stage on fire by just the sheer confidence. Her exceptional calendric memory is also to be noted, as she can tell the day of any given date in any year. Let me take an example. Let me take my birthday as an example. I was born on the 30th of August 2000, which is a Wednesday. So if I just tell her the date and tell her to tell the day, she'll tell Wednesday. Eh, And I've never seen anyone else with such a talent. She's currently pursuing multimedia. She's working on Adobe Photoshop, Illustrator, and video editing. She, and one thing I really like about my sister is that she puts a full effort, like she puts a full dedication into whatever she's doing, provided that she likes doing that. So here's my commitment. I will do my best to support her, and I know that she has a successful future. Okay, and I like to talk about this. Me and my sister, we are totally different children. The things that worked for me, be it in therapy or in school, haven't always worked out for her. While I did well in school, my sister, like my, it was clear that school didn't suit my sister, so she had to try out. So she's out here trying things that she loves to do. So what I'm trying to say is that one size does not fit all, meaning that each and every child is unique, and parents need not be stressed about their child, like if they're very different from the others, because they're unique in their own way. You just have to find out what they're unique at. And is the journey of autism. For some, it might be a sprint. See, the picture on the left is a 100-meter sprint. The one on the right is a marathon. So for some kids, the journey of autism could be just as quick as a sprint, and for some, it could be long and tedious as a marathon. But what matters in the end is that we don't give up, is that we finish the race no matter what. And here are our needs as a special children. Here are the needs of the special children. They need to have inclusive and supportive education system. Right now, sadly, there aren't a lot of schools that still are ready to accept special children, and that they are scared to even like take them in. Then we have awareness. They need awareness, empathy, and acceptance from the community. So they also need an accepting community, a community that involves them in a lot of activities that they do. They require love, respect, and compassion, and they also require equal opportunity in all aspects of their life, not only school, but they also require equal opportunity in their career and in getting jobs. So I'd like to conclude my presentation with a quote by our famous Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. You have to dream before your dreams can come true. So when I was in school, I used to dream of becoming a game developer. Now, having finished my engineering, in computer science, I am only a step closer to achieving my goal. So I conclude the presentation by thanking Dr. Pratibha Karanth ma'am and the entire of Comdeal for inviting me here. And I thank you wonderful audience for bearing me for 29 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, Pranav, for enlightening us about your own journey of life until this stage. We wish you the very best for your future, and so too to Latika and the Kannans. We do have this little handiwork of Priya and Mr. Kannan. So this is what they came and showed us. Yes, that's right. Our second speaker is Dr. Kajal Roy. Can you change the slides? Please? Dr. Kajal Roy would like to speak about her journey as a mother of a child diagnosed with autism. As you can see, she's a highly qualified, highly skilled individual and made a big move from the IT profession to becoming a special educator. Her good cheer is amazing, her energy is amazing, and today we are proud to have her as a colleague who runs 2 units of early intervention here in Bangalore city. Kajal.
Good evening, everyone. Hello, good evening. Lovely to see such energetic team here. Wholehearted thank you. Thank you for having me here. A journey of 2 decades, actually. Thank you, Dr. Karanth. Thank you for inviting me here and giving me this opportunity. I'm here as a mother. That's my identity. Everybody calls me Adi's mother. So hearing Dr. Kajal is very rare for me. Since the time he was assessed, the first place that I've been at the age of 4 was at Comdeal's door. Comdeal was hardly 3 or 4 years old at that time. And I've never looked back from there. I've continued whatever Dr. Karanth had told me. And 2 years we were there. And that's how I'm going to talk about the entire journey. He came here today and he was here. But as you know, being claustrophobic, it's very difficult for him to sustain so many people together. But he was there for 1 hour. I'll start my presentation by saying, behind every child who believes in themselves is a parent who believed first. So Priya, just now I would like to tell you, we were in the same boat together. Pranav, I have a baby picture of yours here as well. So we all are in the same boat. We are all together and our world is really very small. We get to meet somebody surprised. I met a friend here after almost 2 decades. To start with, a journey with Aditya, just an introduction, the journey where he is today, identifying his strengths. We always talk about what is missing in our children, what is not there, speech is not there, sensory integration, all that. But what is their strength? That is what I have felt that what is key to find out in Aditya and to move forward. My transformation, as ma'am already told, I was in top-notch in IT, but I had to quit everything. And I happily did that without even looking back. No regrets of leaving my IT, prosperous IT job. And today I'm partnered and affiliated with Comdeal. And wonderful to see so many children I'm able to serve them. And ma'am has visited the center. It's a very, very happy place. And that's a Samavesha unit affiliated to Comdeal. And that family bonding, that's very important for any child to be brought up with spectrum child. This is the introduction of Aditya. As I said, I'm very, very proud mom. I never regretted that my son, what autism, as ma'am told, that 1 in 1,000, now it is 1 in 50s or 60s. So at that time, almost 15 years back, I was not even knowing what is autism. The moment I came to know what is autism, I never felt that, why me? Why my family? We come from a very educated family. My husband, who is from IIT Delhi and IIM Kolkata, it's not easy. My entire family is very proud of his academic, and that too, generation back, why his son has to have autism. It was a little blame game which brought me into depression. I said, no looking back. Whoever is blaming me is behind me. And the journey started. So Aditya is now 20 years old. He was assessed with PDD NOS. He has an artistic bent of mind, which we realized at the age of 4 itself. He loves music, singing, painting, playing keyboard, and now he's even coding. He already graduated in Rabindra. We are Bengalis, and Rabindra Sangeet, many of you might be knowing of Rabindranath Tagore, and he has graduated in Rabindra Sangeet already. He's cleared his SSLC 10th board exam. He's not very good or he's not excellent of getting 80%, but he manages to get that 33%. And he has cleared his PU, that also during pandemic time, and now he's doing degree. He was denied admission when he was in grade 1 by almost some 15 to 16 schools. I want to visit them. Frankly speaking, I want to visit them and show them that where he stands today. It's not easy for a child with so many of sensory needs to sit and write exam for 2 hours, but he's doing that. And those schools which said he is autism, we cannot accommodate him. We don't have resources. One school actually opened its door and I made that school inclusive. I'm very proud to say that I was there in that school for almost 15 to 16 years before starting with Samavesha. And that school is one of the top-notch inclusive school in Bangalore. So it's just that we need to have that heart, empathy, and open the doors for our children. So intensive therapy, I'll talk about what actually worked for Aditya, or the pathway is therapy, early intervention, school and the college, a supportive school, which even Pranav said that although there were challenges, but the school continued to have him. Then the family background, and finally serving the society where I am having the centers of Samavesha. This is where it all began. So some of them are already there, and Lakshmi and all were there when Aditya started with the Comdale program. This was in the Fraser town. Priya, can you see? Pranav, can you see yourself? That was a small Pranav there. So that was our team. Yes, Latika, that's Pranav there. And these are the wonderful therapists who supported of Comdale Early Intervention MAMS program. There is where he was there for the entire program. He progressed like anything. His communication started. He used to be very isolated. He started interacting with children. His need-based words were there, but the communication started. His sensory integration started happening. As Pranav told that he used to close his ears, and Aditya still has tactile sensitivity. It doesn't go, I think so, even though whatever we do it remains and it's part of his life. So, but he could overcome to a great extent, and I owe a lot to Comdale for giving that platform, that moment of time. So what the therapy and interventions play a very, very crucial role in the early years of the child's life. That's when I realized if I have to start with a center, I will only go with Comdale. What works for, one thing we should know that what works for one child doesn't really work for everybody. So the child in the spectrum, each child is unique. I cannot compare one child as Pranav and Latika are different. So are the Aditya and Pranav is different. Aditya and one more Kalash came, they're different. So each and every child is unique. We should not expect miracles within few days of therapy. I am having my center, my own center now, and I know the parents come, ma'am, 15 days mein ho jayega, ma'am. Within 15 days, can I see improvement? I said, there's no magic wand. You cannot have something like a magical, okay, you got a fever, you take a Calpol, tomorrow you'll be fine. It doesn't work with autism. Develop patience. Child is surely learning. Trust your therapists. So much of doubt they have on the therapist. What are you doing inside? Can we peep? Can we go inside? Can you open the window for me to see? So why aren't you trusting the therapist? We are trying to do the best for from the therapist's point of view. So do not be overload a child. This even I had done, and that's the reason I'm able to tell you. Running from one corner, that time we did not have many centers. Comdale and one more Sunshine, Dr. Vanita Rao was there. There were only hardly 1 or 2 centers, but now every other corner you'll find. And the parents are going morning here, afternoon there, evening there. What are you doing with the child? I don't know. And then comparing this center, oh, that center, it worked for this child, I'll remove him from this center. Don't do that. Trust one center and trust the people who are working with your children. So there are various interventions which I had done for Aditya, which I think most of you all know. OT, speech, special education, Comdale's 5 days early intervention group. But I kept his social life very active. He was put into swimming, skating, other than the Comdale group on the weekends. Montessori school, he was going to a Montessori school. I have not done any biomed, although people suggested go for GF diet, CF diet and all. But we did medical, we got his metabolic test done, metal toxicity to found out. And since there was nothing found, I did not take the biomed step forward. His cognitive development, the moment we started with the interventions, we could see the development, a slow and steady progress. And for that, I maintained a diary. I should have brought the diary to show it to you. I still have the diary. The first time he said certain things. First time he questioned me, Mama, what is this? What came then? Immediately, where came and now why comes? So, which was not very easy. I have each date written in my diary. That again, Dr. Kajal told me, you should have a benchmark of when she used to give the report, what all the goals she is working on. It's still there with me. Why it is there? Because I can see the pathway, the journey from 4 years to 20 years where he has been. This is the therapy center. I'm Binu uncle. I don't know if he remembers me or he remembers Aditya, but Aditya remembers him every day. He has searched and found out Purnima's number and he sends texts to Purnima and they chat on WhatsApp. So I really thankful to the wonderful team. Can you believe this is 4-year child and he's 20 years to remember. He flips back those books because I have maintained those diaries, the books, the pictures and all, and he goes through them. They are so pictorial that they remember everything that they have, and I owe my whole heart and soul to the team. Ma'am has run the program, but they were executing it, and they have done such a wonderful job. Then comes the school. So once the intervention is done, we started with the school. God's been kind to give me a school where there were only 100 children. After being handed over with the refusal from almost 20 schools in Bangalore. Every school used to say, we cannot accommodate him. And I was honest to them. I used to tell them, yes, my son is with ASD. My son has challenges to speak. He cannot sit at one place. He might need frequent breaks. So these were the words, and immediately no used to come the answer. So the school environment plays a crucial role. A child spends almost 6 hours a day in the school. Child should be happy to go to school. If the parents, I don't know how many parents are here, if the child is refusing to go to school, that's a red flag. Teachers are there to support. At many times, the parents are very demanding. That's the reason the school doesn't want to take. They say it's a neurotypical school. We have 60 children. One child might disturb the environment. So shadow or a facilitator nowadays, that's become a trend everywhere. In the end, I'll say academics is not everything. The parents, I don't know how many parents or the facilitators are here. Parents should not think that academics is the only way out for our children. No, answer is absolutely no. The school environment builds, I told you that Insight Academy is the school where eventually he got admission into. That's a very small group, but the staff was very supportive. And I used to wait outside the gate to bring him, drop him. He's out of the class, send him back to the class. And also principal came to know and she asked me, what is your background? So I told electronics, then MBA, then doing PhD and all. I said, you're so highly qualified. Why are you waiting outside the gate? You come inside the gate. And she took me. And since electronics background, she took me as a physics teacher, and I happily joined because I'll come to know what my son is at least doing inside. Nothing came, no reporting, nothing. So that is how my journey as a teacher began. These are some of the pictures which you can see. There was no resource room, nothing. He's there everywhere. And he loves people. He loves people to be around, but not all outside. You can see the claustrophobic environment makes him a little anxious. So he's there. This is the sack race and all. He not understood competition, but he used to participate in that. The band. This is the science which he loved. Again, like Pranav said, he likes science. He used to like science. This is going out on a trip. And I allowed him to go out wherever he can, wherever he wants without me. So I was not a nagging mother or something, pile on with him and go together. No, he is there with everywhere. So these children are such beautiful hearts. They still are friends. They still come home. They still interact with each other. And it's a myth that they can't make friends. He has a WhatsApp now. He calls his friends and they meet. So they do make friends. It's just that they don't know how to extend it or communicate further, but he's very happy when he interacts with them. Then comes the college. Again, God's been kind to us. We got a very wonderful college called Vedanta College. He completed his 10th, and that too during pandemic, which was very, very, very difficult for us. Then PU, and now he's doing degree. That's the principal who is very supportive, and she actually briefs the children before he enters the class. If somebody mocks him, if somebody bullies him, and if I come to know, that child will be out of the college. Which school, which college does that? And I'm so happy to see that she has taken 4 more children with autism. Children taking in another special needs is very easy, but children take from the spectrum background. Now he's doing degree in the grade PU level. I see 4 more students with autism being included, so I'm very happy to see that. And I provided a helping hand to them. I said, ma'am, you don't understand autism, give my number to the parents. I'll guide them how to get the Kannada exemption, how to get the extended time, how to get calculator help. And our government provides that everything to our children. We just don't know how to approach them. We just don't know where to apply for that. So she gave my number to all the parents who are coming for, I'm talking about Insight Academy as well as in the Vedanta College, and I guided them, and all of them got the exemption. And it's very easy to pass. Getting 33% is not at all difficult. Getting the environment is difficult. So yes, I provided a helping hand to all the teachers. I first went and met them. This is my son. He has challenges. If he doesn't do anything, just give me a call. I'll be there. Within 5 minutes or 10 minutes, I will be there. But please include him. How much soever time he sits, please include. And they were wonderful hearts, wonderful hearts. It's not that the people are against us. They just don't know what to do. When we brief them about them, they are opening up brilliantly. When the college came, the school, 20 colleges refused admission. College, wherever, whichever college I went, they were ready to take him. I don't know why that 12 years or 14 years of transition, so much of change in people's mind. And as I told you, identifying the strengths. We have always worked speech therapy, OT therapy, sensory integration, all that which is missing in him. What I found out, the painting, singing, music calms him down. The moment the colors are there, he's very therapeutic for him. He'll just throw random colors and make out something, but that comes out to be good. So I have identified some of the strengths from the beginning and worked towards it. I used to take him to the singing classes. He will not sing a single word because others are singing. So the teacher told, bring him separate, one-on-one, and I will teach him. And that's where I brought him. I used to wait outside, let the others go, then he will be allowed. So all that effort has gone from it, but the child picked up. Aditya picked up. And from music, he completed his, as I told you, the diploma in Rabindra Sangeet. And in Karnataka, he stood first. Probably nobody knows Bengali here much, but it's an honor which I feel good about it, that in entire Karnataka, getting the first rank in Rabindra Sangeet is not easy. And then art exhibitions have been conducted all over. His one recent art exhibition was at Vega City Mall. Again, a big applause. His 8 paintings were selected, 4 of them got sold, which again it's really happy when he is selling and giving it to him. His first painting was sold when he was 15 years old, and some US people bought it, and they said, we are not going to transfer the money to parents' account. And we didn't even have his account. So we parents decided, okay, let's open an account for Aditya, because they will transfer the money only on Aditya's account. So that's where he earned at the age of 15. I don't think so, being a typically growing so as we think, I ever had my account or earned anything at the age of 15. So expanding interests, as I told you, painting, music. Coding picked up because during pandemic, he was only on mobile. I don't know what to do. So I gave him the computer and coding started. And photography. He has done from FTII photography course as well. I have given him a platform. I have forced. I am a mother I'm a very happy mother. I never take, burdens, what next? What will happen to me? What next? No, I'm very living in the present. So I have given him wherever in the school, ma'am, please take him. He will dance, he will sing, give him opportunity. It's almost like asking them to include my son. And they did it, and they're doing it to thousands of them more now. So imagine how world has expanded. They have 3,000 students and 300 with special needs now. Adi was just the first one. So it's fulfilling for me to see so many other children. They don't even know me. They don't know me. The other parents don't know me. But I feel proud that those children are getting benefited. And the principal is so accommodative. And so you see, where is the stage? Aditya is there. These are his paintings, some of the paintings which he loves doing it. One big achievement, and this, I feel so proud as a mother. He was selected as the outgoing student of the year. This is not a joke. And that too from a Vedanta college, which is a Bangalore University college. Not a single child with special needs is there. And he with autism. See, when there is other disabilities, it's very difficult from a neurodiverse children. I'm not saying the difficulty, the neurodiverse, when they are getting angry, when they're getting anxious, we don't know. But the college has accommodated, they have seen his potential, how much he is giving in his effort in spite of his challenges. He is accommodating. He will say, I want to go out, I want to rush. The professors or the lecturers allow him. So he was chosen this, and this remains in my house also, in my center also I have put this. So it's one of the proud moment for me. And his painting exhibition, as I told, there are a lot of exhibitions which has been conducted. This is in Kolkata. My father attended. I could not attend because they are from Kolkata. And this is in Vega City Mall, where 8 paintings were selected. Then coding, they're so photogenic memory. The coding, he doesn't make error. So the Google I/O Connect was organized here, and 2 years consecutively he got selected, and they gave him a certificate for the Google coding. See, this is very different from any other child. They will say, oh, what's the big deal? Now ChatGPT has come, whatever I want, I can give you coding. That's not the answer. That thing is, a child with challenges can do it patiently sitting for 2 hours of coding. It's very difficult. In the classroom, he's not sitting. But in the coding, if I give him 2 hours, he sits without getting up. Painting, unless he completes the painting, he's not getting up. So these are the things which has helped me to understand what interests him, what doesn't interest him. Family, that's the very important, crucial part. Me and my husband, both from the IT background, we worked together in Satyam. So being a love marriage, it was very difficult to, getting acceptance from everybody. But what I decided, I'm alone, cannot bring up Aditya. I brought in my in-laws, my family together. My brother-in-law was also here. Entire family was together, and they're still so proud of Aditya. It was not easy. It's not easy. I know I meet a lot of parents that I'm not getting support from the family, from the in-laws, from my parents and all. I said, you bend first, they will bend. So I have bend. But that does not mean that I have bent for Aditya. I have bent to include my son. He is with challenges, so what? He will prove himself one day. He has his challenges, but he has his strengths. And touch wood. My father-in-law is no more, but he loved Aditya. And Aditya misses him every day. The other things which I would like to say, the family background, is the challenges. The challenges which we both have felt. The challenges what we face at the age of 4 or 5 is very different from the challenges which I am facing now. So the challenges doesn't end. When they say a child in US is 16 years is independent, the parents are very free, that the child has already, the nest is empty, the child has grown out. But for us, when we have a child with special needs, our duties continues. Our challenges continues. So initial acceptance is very difficult for those who are in the early intervention. I see them, ma'am must be seeing them from years together. The acceptance comes very difficult. I went into depression. Why? My son. But that was for a very short period of time. I'm a very jolly, happy-going person. Whatever comes, let's take it heads on. My entire team is here, around 8 of them, and they know what fun we have. One more thing, ma'am came and told, retaining the people is very difficult. I said, ma'am, I'm running it from 2.5 years. Not a single employee has left me. They are here, and touch wood, we started with 3 of them got trained, and we are 30 now. So it's a happiness to share the joy and give it to the team. Including the family, what I said, that depression and all are phases of our life. Everybody, even the children, those who are typically growing, their parents also have their challenges. They also go through a lot of difficulties. But it's how we face it and bring out the best in that children. I joined various autism groups, which helped me to understand what is autism. I'm more connected to all the autism mothers rather than the neurotypically growing. I cannot go for kitty party. I cannot go for a movie and watch a movie with the typically growing children talking about things which I cannot connect with. So my life has transformed. It's very difficult to connect. I'm not saying that they are wrong or something. I'm finding it very difficult to connect. I might connect with Priya much better than connecting with my neighbor who has a typically growing child. So I myself started with yoga, meditation to bring peace in me. I'm, end of the day, a human being. And to handle so many things around, it's not easy. First, I have to calm myself. I have to retain my identity. I'm a very jolly person. I have to retain that. I was going down somewhere. So I started this, and it helped me. It helped me to get up and fight the world. I got tremendous support. Those people who have been with me, I have my heart and gratitude for them for helping me throughout the journey. It started with Comdeal, but the school principal had been very supportive to me, including me. I got many offers because being teaching physics, high school and all. I said, no, I'll not leave you because that's the place where I've been given the honor. And now college also has asked me, because I'm now PhD in AI. So AI come and give lectures. I said, no, that's not my forte. Because of IT, I wanted to continue with AI, but I love children. That's where I want to be. So where did I go wrong? Yes, this is where Samavesha tied up with Comdeal. The moment, I don't know if Nirupama ma'am is here, she is another guide and helper to me. And I said, I want to do something because we are saying no to so many children, and inside the school is not able to accommodate so many children every day. And they all used to come to me and I used to say, we can't accommodate, very difficult. So I thought of starting something where we can give a door, we opened our arms to those children. And the first place me and my husband met, Dr. Karant, the very next month, we signed the MOU and here we are. We are almost 2 years now. Yes, ma'am, 2.5 years now. And touch wood, the children are happy, they are progressing. The kind of feedback I get is amazing. So I couldn't have thought of anything other than Comdeal to get affiliated with. Some do's and don'ts before I end, I don't want to take too much time, is celebrate your child. Do not think why they have this issue. Why am I the one who has been punished by God to have a child with autism? No. Let's celebrate whomever the God has gifted. Ensure consistency in your approach. I tell this to every parent. Don't shop. Go 1 here today, 2 days there, 3 days there. You're not helping the child in any way. Reinforce and reward all the good responses. Whatever small good they do in a day, make that reach high sky. Don't always, oh, why did you do this? No, don't. It's not in my dictionary at all. Pay attention to the siblings or the other family members. Very important. I said, no, my in-laws and all, I brought them. They're very happy with me. And explain in advance the structure helps for our children. So very well, I spoke to Riya and Shilpa that, tell me what time, and also that I can tell Aditya that this is what is expected from you. This is what you're going to do it. So he was very clear in his mind what is expected. Do ABC. Behavior is something which the school, colleges, or the society finds very difficult when it comes to our children. So find out why did that behavior happen and what was my reaction or the consequence of that behavior. And trust me, if you tell and explain our children, they don't repeat that behavior. Don'ts. Don't blame yourself. It happened because of me. It happened because my husband didn't do this. Don't. Stop this blame game. Don't remember the stares. Oh, everybody's staring at my child. I will not take him to the birthday party. Why? Everybody is saying this. I will not take him to that function. I did not visit my hometown from the last 2 years. One mother came Saturday, and she told me I didn't visit my hometown because my child is with autism and he flaps his hands. So what? Big deal. So many people might be doing so many other things. Please do not hide your child. Don't go by the label PDD and OSA. He's very high functioning. No, what are you talking? Where are you hiding? Nothing. He is having challenges and there he stands, beating his odds every day. The child is facing the world. Become your child for one day and see the difficulties the child is facing. And then appreciate that how much the child is doing for you. Don't hesitate to ask for help. I've asked help from everybody. Everybody, even the Ayama auntie. If he comes out, no, tell me. I've given the number. Call me, I will take him inside. Why? There's nothing wrong in asking help from people to bring up your child. Don't rearrange your whole world around the child. I have done my PhD in AI. Mom asked me when I came, where did you get the time? I said, see, ma'am, everything is not Aditya. I'm still called Aditya's mother. I'm very proud of it. But IT was where my parents, they're still in Bombay. My father is 90 years old. My mother is 85 years old. They're still so proud when I got the degree. And that too, I did not take autism. I did not take special needs. I took the specialization of AI to do it just to satisfy my own soul. Just to think that is where I started my career, right? I took it because of my son. Leaving that aside, I am not going back. I'm not revisiting AI. But it's just to say, yes, I continued with my IT background. That's us. That's a very happy picture which I like to show. I'm a very, very happy person. I like to share joy. Let's be all very happy with our children. They are brought differently. They are differently able, but definitely they are able children. And that's a thank you message from me. I have a small video to show. Thank you. I hope I did not take too much time. Uh, कुछ पाने की हो आस आस कोई अरमा हो जो खास खास आशाएं हर कोशिश में हो बार बार करे दरियाओं को बार बार आशाएं तूफानों को चीर के मंजिलों को छीन ले आशाएं ले उम्मीदें हंसे अब मुश्किल नहीं कुछ भी नहीं कुछ भी आशाएं ले उम्मीदें हंसे अब मुश्किल नहीं कुछ भी नहीं कुछ भी उड़ जाए लेके खुशी अपने संग तुझको वहाँ जन्नत से मुलाकात हो पूरी हो तेरी हर दुआ आशाएं खिले दिल की उम्मीदें हंसे दिल की अब मुश्किल नहीं कुछ भी नहीं कुछ भी आशाएं ले दिल की उम्मीदें हंसे दिल की अब मुश्किल नहीं कुछ भी नहीं कुछ गुजरे ऐसी हर रात रात हो ख्वाहिशों से बात बात आशाएं लेकर सूरज से आग आग गाए जा अपना राग राग आशाएं कुछ ऐसा करके दिखा खुद खुश हो जाए खुदा आशाएं ले दिल की उम्मीदें हंसे अब मुश्किल नहीं कुछ भी नहीं Thank you. Thank you. This is a big thing for me, and thank you. I have no words. Thank you.
Sri Vijay Raghavan is from Trivandrum. He is well recognized among us as somebody who has pioneered social movements in support of children with special needs. He will speak for himself. I don't need to say more about him. Sri Vijay Raghavan.
I knew I would be speaking last, and I did not prepare a presentation as such, but I have a document which I did, and I'll probably go through that. And the topic that I've selected is building a supportive ecosystem for individuals with autism and their families. And the reason for saying that is, many a time we talk about just the individuals on the spectrum. We don't talk about their families, or we talk about their families, or we talk about individuals who have a disability. We don't talk about their families. And I'll just tell what two chief ministers of Kerala with whom I work closely, and I've selected two who are from both sides. You know, Kerala has just the left front and the Congress-led front. One was E.K. Nayanar, who is no more, who, after visiting my office several years ago, where he saw my children, he went back, and the next day he used to write a column with Malayalam Manorama, and he wrote that he went back, he sat at his table and he cried, and he said that I realized for the first time that children with disability cannot be the responsibility of parents alone. They are a responsibility of society. The other one was, and I think if there are parents here, please take it in the right sense, was what Uman Chandi told me once when we were driving the state initiative on disabilities. A lot of work we did. The first state to do cochlear implants in the country. We did the disability census. One day he called and said, look, you're doing all this. There is a prayer which many parents in Kerala, which is parents around the world have. He said many mothers have. And that prayer, how can we look at a Kerala which does not have that prayer? And that prayer is that a mother says, my child should die before I die. And that is because we don't have a system which takes care of it. And it is not something which parents can do alone. Society has a responsibility for that. And so when I look at, and I thought I'll start with that because it's something which gives you, many a time we think politicians are not empathetic to what we do, but very clearly that is there. And I think Dr. Khan remembers we did the state initiative of disabilities. There were multiple sessions you attended. And I should probably, I have not told her earlier, but I should tell you that the bills for those sessions went, and all of them did it gratis. The bills went, and somebody in finance asked the guy who paid the whole thing, saying, why did they stay at Kovalam? Why did they not stay in the Mascot Hotel in the city? So I told him, you send that comment to me and I will respond to that. And I said, I replied to that saying, point number one, I'll give you an answer which you want. Samudra Hotel at Kovalam was cheaper than Mascot Hotel. But that's not the reason I put them there. The reason we had all of them stay there was they were coming in as guests. They were contributing for multiple days, and we wanted them to stay in a place which they felt comfortable in. So the thing is that sometimes you find bureaucracy, others who don't react. But there are many who react well when you look at such things. Now, so autism, Professor Kant had talked about, she showed the slide on that, what it is, etc. But there's one thing which we should look at is in the last several years, because of efforts like people like her, awareness on autism has increased substantially, which is good. But like was mentioned earlier by, I think you had mentioned it, where you talked about many a time teachers, there are some very good teachers. There are some teachers who you thought you should never send your child to. But the problem here is that the education system that we have in the country for the B.Ed program, which teachers are supposed to be qualified, has no content on teaching children with disabilities. Okay, there is a change now. They're looking at some syllabus changes which have happened. If that happens, it will be good. But otherwise, it is just like when you talk about autism, go through the entire MBBS curriculum, there is one place in all their textbooks, there is one sentence on autism, nothing else. How do you expect a doctor to say what it could be when a child is taken there, especially in rural India? So this is something, these are things which we need to look at changing. So what I'm talking about is basically we need to have a big change in the way we are looking at things. So if you look at the incidence of autism, there are all kinds of figures, but the 2024 survey of the CDC in the US talks of 1 in 36 children is on the spectrum. The number we have for India is 1 in 100. But today I was at the India Inclusion Summit and somebody was speaking and said, there are numbers which come out and we can use the multiplying factor which we want to get the actual number. It could be a 2 or a 3. Okay. So it is impossible that our numbers on disability, not only autism, others, can be so low when in the Western world it is high. Okay. Our problem is, and this is one of the big areas that we face, is delays in diagnosis. Assessment is not done on time. Okay. Now I know that how many people who are not parents or directly related to a person with a disability who are in this room? If you can raise your hands. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, we order 5, 7, 8 people. Good. So I mean, those on who are in a way connected definitely will have their thoughts. But for others, it is necessary for us to start talking to people who we think are in positions of influence and power. I saw that slide where it talked about people staring at you. And in fact, one of the things which I did whichever institutions I've started, I've said, we will unscrupulously copy anything from around the world as long as, or unashamedly copy anything from around the world as long as it does not infringe somebody's intellectual property. So there's an organization called TACA in the US, and they have a beautiful card which they had done. And we did the same card, but we modified it for our, since there should be some cards at the exhibition area. We give it to parents and we tell them, if somebody stares at your child, don't say anything, just give the card. It tells what autism is, it tells what it is. You give a card, that person will never stare at somebody else again. Okay. And the other one, which I think it was the teacher who talked about when you talk about taking your children out. Okay. I always tell parents, if there is a relative or a friend or an occasion where they want you to come, but they can't accept your children or your child, that's not an occasion where you have to go. And be firm about it. You may say that they'll be different, but I can tell you that very difficult for people to say, don't bring your child around. They will show their face, but you're not bothered, you will go. And that becomes even more important. And people in society should know to understand that. And you find that today, like for example, the Trivandrum airport people were telling us, because there have been a couple of issues, okay? In fact, it was raised by somebody in Bangalore only with Sri Lankan Airlines. They were asked about it. So clearly, things are changing. But the change has to be much faster than it is today. I remember when my daughters were identified to be deaf, we didn't have any facilities in Kerala to find out whether they had hearing or not. Brought them to the All India Institute of Speech and Hearing long ago. Both my daughters are there today. But then we had relatives said, don't tell anyone they are deaf because they have to get married at one point of time. I said, they are deaf, they'll remain deaf forever. If they get married, they'll get married. Okay. But the fact is that you can't hide. And the reason I used to tell people about it is because I wanted to hear what are the options that are available. So especially for parents, it's necessary. And I like that slide where you say, don't hide. Don't hide the fact that you have a child with a disability. Now, the other one, which I find a big problem here, is the limited access to therapies and the cost of therapies. Okay. Now, if you look at the West, and which sometimes, not that everything you should copy, but there are some states in the United States, I won't say everywhere, there's some place where it's worse than what is in our country. But there are some states where it's very good. They look after, it becomes a responsibility of the state to look after the young adult with autism. After the age of 16 or 17, that's taken over by the state. And some states do an exceptional job. You know how much they spend per day on a child? I looked at a case, make a guess, dollars, someone? Pardon? $600 per day. $600 per day is paid by insurance and the city where they are and the state where they are. Because some city may not have the facility, they move them to another city. So these people have to pay for $600 per day spent on a young adult because the care is that of the state. The parent to know about the medical reports, etc., has to go to court to get an order saying that I'm the guardian, this is the way I can support, I would like to see the medical reports, etc. Because they are an adult, and then the parent, they say, have no say. And interesting, when my daughter studied at the Gallaudet University, of course, I sent the fees, and then I asked how they're doing and asked for the marks, and they said, we can't send you their marks. So then they said, your daughters have to say that it's okay. So they went there and they met the professor there and said, you can. Then the professor said, no, you don't have to give it to them. Not required. They said, no, he's the one who's sending the money. That's okay. You're an adult, you don't have to give it to them. And they said, no, give it. So that's how I found out how they were doing. So what I'm telling is that there are a lot of things which need to change. But I should tell you that the big change that happened for us in the 2016 Act, that Act made a lot of changes. and many senior people at that time, I'm sure you would have been consulted, have done some good work on that. The act is good, the implementation is not good enough. But the biggest problem on that is when it's an act, it's a law. The problem is we don't have enough case laws to support what we want. So, I saw that slide which talked about, where you talked about, refusing admission to children. Supreme Court had a judgment very recently which said if no school can refuse admission to a child with disability. They have to take the child on. They have to have a special educator in their school, otherwise they can't run the school. You can ask for a school to be shut down if they don't do it. So now there are case laws coming, and we need to be actually parents and civil society needs to be a bit more active on that and start working on it. And there I remember after the law was passed, the first law itself where there was preservation for the deaf but not for the autistic, it came in subsequently. We actually fought, because I was part of government and with the Speech and Hearing Institute, we couldn't do it ourselves, but we got parents together, got them to file cases against the government saying that you need to give a reservation for people who are deaf at that time. And niche, and we had children who did their, I'm giving you a mix of that because these are things which we need to do. So there was one girl, well-off family, parents could afford, etc. She went through the preschool, she joined a regular school, she went through our preschool, she was using lip reading, not sign, and then she got admission to engineering under this quota, electronics and communication. And father was called up very happy. Third year the father calls up, his totally only daughter, she says she wants to go to America for studies. I said the only thing you can do is probably tell her that if you get into a good university on merit, I will send you. And then he said, what happens if she gets through? I said, if she gets through, you send her. I said, I sent both my daughters, and they went, and they were the first girls from India into the Gallaudet University. I said, send them. And then he called up one day and said she got admission. So I asked where? Carnegie Mellon University, one of the better universities in the US, a very good electronic department there. She went there, unfortunately it was just before COVID, and then she got 10, she used to message her father, she used to message me. Then my son is in Pittsburgh, so I told my son and his wife to go and meet her, talk to her, then she went and stayed with her uncle after that. And then COVID was over, and she said, now I'll complete my course very soon. There's no placements here. University in the US, they don't do placements. Okay, you have some fairs, but no placements in the university as such. And I said, don't worry. Just keep applying wherever you think you can get a job. But let me assure you that you're passing out from CIU. If you don't get a job anywhere, I will arrange a job for you in some. She became confident. She started applying. And then her father calls up one day early morning. She got a job with Apple. Okay. So the thing is, it'll take time for successes to come. The other success was two young girls, twins, and very difficult family condition. When they were 2.5, they were studying at Nish. The father committed suicide. And I walked in that day into the center, and I was, so I said, none of the staff were there. I asked what happened. They said, well, Lakshmi's and Parvati's father committed suicide, and my daughters are by the same name. I said, hold on. They said, no, Lakshmi and Parvati. I said, for heaven's sake, don't tell anybody that happened. Just say that parents have gone out somewhere. This mother, so difficult, she became an LIC agent after that. 3 children who were deaf. Both the girls went to a regular school, studied at the College of Engineering, Trivandrum for civil engineering. Last year, they got into the Indian Engineering Service. Normal engineers find it difficult. So I'm telling that this can happen, and I saw in a way I would say the 2 case studies which were there before me, yours and the one on Vidya. Very clearly supportive parents. If parents give up, it's difficult after that. So it's very clear that's something very important. So supportive parents are a big thing that is there. The other one which we should have, and I talked about that social isolation, we have to ensure that doesn't happen. There's a video I did on that, a very interesting thing where 2 children with autism in a home, father a very senior government servant, retired, grandfather. Grandmothers, every time and he has visitors coming. Every time they come, these kids run around, something is happening, and Grandfather gets irritated. It's a lot of commotion. And then the grandmother decided, anytime a visitor is coming, calls up saying they're coming, or they ring the bell, they'll say, there are 2 children here who are on the spectrum. These are the things they do. If you're prepared to accept that, you can come. If not, you can't come. Very clear message. No problems after that. Because those who could tolerate it were there, others did not. So it is necessary at some point of time to call a spade, accept what it is, and say. The other one which is there is suddenly, the diagnosis there, and then like I think you mentioning, you say, but my son is on the spectrum, but he's high functioning. Okay, you should remember that there are people with capabilities, like you talked about your sister, when she gives the date. We have a couple of children who do that. But the fact there is that not all of them have these talents. The problem that we in society have, and this is a specific case I picked up, and I've been asking a lot of people, there is somebody who can do all this. Tell me, where can I use this capability of the individual? It is not that you don't, earlier today you can find the dates using your calendar on there. Where can I use this capability of that person? We have a child who would do us, if you give the 2-digit, 3-digit number, multiply, he will not bother. Do a 6 digits and multiply by a 6-digit number, he'll come sit on my chair, he'll just keep revolving and he'll give you the answer before you will get it on your calculator. So how do we utilize those strengths? How do we get that? And where do we utilize that strength? There must be a place where it can be used. So we need to find out what we can do, how we can do that. And the teachers, very observant teachers, are very good. I remember there was a boy who would, while counting, would just not count proper. He was saying something, and then the teacher said he's blabbering, and then our staff were told, you need to be very observant what the child is doing. And this teacher said, he was repeating the same thing. And then she actually found out by searching out on the etc. that he was actually counting in German, because he had seen some German videos, and that is what stuck to him when he was doing that. He could be good in languages. There was another one which was there where, you have this conical kind of a thing with rings, which a lot of children use. Put them up, the biggest one at the bottom, and it goes up. So the teacher would pull it out, and then he would put it back, and he would put it, another child, put it back in a different order. She'll remove it again, he'll put it back in a completely different order. She realized after 2 or 3 times that he was actually putting it in the order of the Vijaya colors. Okay? So these are strengths which are there. Now there's one more thing I'll tell before I move on, is that our education system in our country is not designed to take care of such talent, or to take care of people who will do mathematics and cannot do English, who can't write. Okay, we have some changes now with scribes, and you can use computer, etc. So all these are things which have to change. That's a difference again. Not that I'm saying everything in the West is great, but I had gone to a conference at Stanford University a few years ago, which is organized by SAP, Microsoft, EY, called Autism at Work. And as I was waiting in the lounge, there was a gentleman who was walking around with climate was not cold, but he had a purple colored jacket, he had a bow, he had a big cap. And I jokingly told the person who came to pick me up, I said, most probably he's coming for the conference. Okay, and when we went there, after some time he came, he sat next to me. There was only 50 people invited, and he was the main speaker. He's a professor of mathematics at one of the top universities in the US. And he can't write his biodata. You tell him to write something in English, he can't. But he's a professor of mathematics and teaches mathematics. In our system of education, if you know only mathematics, you fail in class 10. You can't go further. They won't take you into +2, they won't take you into college. That has to change. Those are changes which we need to make. And that change will actually have a big, big impact on the way we look at society and we look at this thing. How many more minutes can I take? I don't want people to be okay. Now, when I talk about, so we were talking about the role of the family is important. So basically you're talking about building up a holistic support system. The family is important. Within the family, father and mother both have to play a role. Sometimes it becomes single parents, then somebody will need to support. The mother, mostly the mother is the one who becomes the caregiver. Mother has to have her own space. I like what you said that you did your PhD in AI. Okay, good. But because you said you do your PhD in AI, Dr. Karant has been after me for something. Now you have a person who will handle it for you. Okay, all right. Huh? No, 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 not that. This is for the app and the using AI there. Use AI there, so that I have to get somebody else to do it. Now she knows somebody who's already here. Okay, so the thing is, mother has to be given her space. Somebody has to give her the break. She needs to go out with her friends. That is something which is important. We tell this to people. I insist that with what we do in Trivandrum with the Center for Autism, we insist that the parents come in every week. Father has to come in mostly the father who's busy, traveling, whatever. Once a week he has to be there. If he's out of the country, he has to get onto a video call. And if not, we will force. And we say, look, it may be punishment, the child may be asked to go. But it's necessary that both parents take the load. We tell the father to actually spend time with the child with a big screen and do a video call if you're not in town. So the child realizes what it is. So this is something which again is important. The other one is the school and inclusion programs. Okay, frankly, all children cannot be included into the school. We have a problem there. It's very difficult sometimes. But the fact is that those who can should be supported by centers. And what we do now is, our objective is the youngest children who come, we want to try and integrate them into mainstream schools. So we do that, and then we have a program where they come back after school to us for about 1.5 hours on a daily basis. And this is something which we do to get them to, and after a year or so, they move out full time. So this is something which is there. But the biggest problem there again, and even I give you the example of Kerala, in some other states it must be worse. Every school has a resource center. They call it a block resource center, where you have one special educator. That person is probably trained on educating the deaf, or educating the visually impaired, or educating ID. That person will handle all the cases. Not being trained in that area, so you're just accommodating, or you're just keeping them. You're not fruitfully engaging. You're not giving them the benefit of that. But you can say, "Oh, we have a resource center. We are doing it." So that again has to change. I suggested to the government, it has not been implemented so far, that you have, let's say for Trivandrum city, you have 3 or 4 schools where you have got the resource center. You say one specializes in autism, one specializes for children with CP, one with the deaf. Then you can actually get them together and you get this thing there. And it is not easy to have. You have 3 children in a class of, or 2 children in a class of 40, and these children have special needs. It's impossible. The model I'm trying to do, I don't know whether we'll succeed, is Dr. Bakarand is one of our advisors there, is we're trying to build a campus if we can. If we are able to get the land and the funding for that. If we get that, we are going to set up a school. And we will look at what we call a reverse integration model, where 50% of the seats are reserved for people who are not on the spectrum. So you will have 50%. So if somebody asked me, will teachers come? I said, if you got 10 or 15 children in a class, any teacher will come. One, parents will be happy to send their children because they know they get special attention. And because the retirement age in Kerala schools is 56 for government schools, the best teachers I can pick up. And they can work for another 8 or 9 years. And I just need to get good committed teachers at a younger age who will then work and take their culture ahead. So the thing is, it can be done, but we need to start thinking differently. So that's another one in terms of schools with inclusion. We want to do the same thing for colleges also. We did the first, with Nish, I did the first Bachelor of Computer Science, Bachelor of Fine Arts programs for the deaf. And then we then started commerce. There must be a very large number of them working in some of the top companies here, did the computer science. My daughters did their BFA there. So the thing is that if there is a will, you push, you can. And there again, you have to fight sometimes. You need to get the right bureaucrat in place. We had one bureaucrat who, when we started the diploma program before this, said, no, deaf and all, you can't give them diploma, you give them certificate. I said, no, the quality of what we are doing is as good as the diploma which government is giving. I want it to be equivalent to a diploma for the PSc degree, for the PSc jobs. He said no, and then and typical of them, he sent it to the legal department to vet. Once it goes to legal department, it'll never come back. Then the next secretary came, I went to her, then Umanjandi became the CM, I went and told him, cleared it. So those who had completed our diploma at that point of time could apply for PSc jobs and get it. So the thing is that we need to, I don't want to use the word lobbying, but we need to actually educate people, okay? Educate people in such a manner that they will change and they will make the change that we need. The other one which I look at and say is that you need to have a multidisciplinary support. There are some, I know not everybody will agree with me, but you need to have your speech therapist, you need to have your special educator, you need to have your occupational therapist, etc. There are some places where they do only one method of teaching. I am one who believes that we need to learn all the methods. But you can't say that my child, I don't want to use a specific thing, but my child is being trained on this, or we will only train children in this area, because some of them are not okay for it. So you need to look at learning what is there and doing what is best for the child. And you may do a mix of that, or you may do one of that, and that will be ideal for the child to go. The other one which is there is doctors. When my daughters were young, we had a doubt that they couldn't hear. Doctor said, no problem, they'll speak. Then we realized they were, and my wife came to Mysore for some program, and then we brought them here. Trivandrum had no facility for testing because the audiologist there said, it can be done, but then they have to say yes or no when they hear. You can't ask a 2-year-old child to say yes or no when you hear. She doesn't know what yes and what no is. So, but one of the things which, because of that, in fact, Nish was in a way what my children did not get, that we tried to do. But one of the first things I did when I got Nish and I got into the planning board was, we decided that every school in Kerala where there is birth, every hospital in Kerala where there is birthing, we will provide an OAE meter. Which means at birth you can know whether the child has risk of hearing or not. And we had Beras put in at regional centers, so that could be done. So sometimes in your position where you are, you may think you can't do something, but there's a lot that can be done. Autism, when I talk about it, and it's a long story, but I'll just quickly tell that, is that the Israeli army recruits people with autism. I heard about it, I called up, I had to go to Tel Aviv for something with one of the companies I work with, and I said I want to meet the people who are responsible for that and find out from them what can be done. Our employability training program that we do today has taken some inputs from that. So I went, and just before I was entering the room of that person, the person who was taking me, who also was with the Israeli army earlier, he said, you're going to meet Tamir. I said, okay. He said, Tamir was the chief of Mossad till last week. So I said, what does Mossad have to do with this? And then he said, you ask Tamir. So I went in and I asked him, and he said, my wife is a speech therapist. And she's been telling me for a very long time that you should do something about it. And I said, what can I do? But then when I was made the chief of Mossad, she walked into my room because it was publicly known. And then I thought she's coming to congratulate me. And she said, you now have the power to do something about it. So you don't know what you can get done with what you have or the contacts you have. And actually that came in, they got together people from the army, and they did it. And the first passing out parade was 6 months from that time. 3 months for planning, 3 months for the training. So it is possible that it can be done. Some of them have great capabilities. I can tell you that some of those children can sit in our police control rooms and find out about most things on video which are going wrong than any other person can do. But you need to have a police chief who's prepared to accept that they will sit there if you are trained properly. So that's something which we should be looking at. And so every opportunity we look at, we should do that. The other one is the financial strain is very high. The cost, if you can't afford it, is very high. When we looked at it, it costs us about 5 lakhs per child. When you look at CSR support for disabilities, it is very, very low. You know why? Because they say that the number of people impacted is very low. So what they say is, look, how can I spend so much on a child who's autistic? You forget that the number of child impacted is not that one child. That child, the entire family is there around which impacted. But not only that, we then talk to people, tell them the impact it has long term. So when we were doing the cochlear implant program in Kerala, that was at that time 7.5 lakh rupees was a cost. Some bureaucrats came up with numbers saying, you can't spend so much, we don't give so much for a cancer patient, why should we do it for this? And I had got some calculations done, and I started calculating and showing them that we would spend more money through their school education than we'll spend for this, because you have special schools for that. But the Chief Minister Umanchandi, again at that point of time, he said, no calculations required, we are going to do it. And Kerala today does not have a wait list for cochlear implant for children below the age of 5. This same program was, your present Karnataka governor was a Minister of Social Justice. And I was making a presentation to him, and he said, we are thinking of this. I said, we've already done it. So he called up his secretaries and all one Saturday when I was in Delhi, called them all up, and then he said, you don't do anything, just copy what Kerala has done and we will do it. And the national government has implemented. But the fact is, like you were saying, not many people know there is a scheme for that. So the thing is that these are things which we need to look at. So financial strain is high. How do we look at it? How can we support? So you look at it and then you see, we give 1,500 rupees per month to a person with disability. It's not going to help anywhere. We need to find out financial models which will help them. The big models that will be required are in the area of assisted living subsequently. We need to find models which can help them there and work out on those. Like I said, government policies are good. Laws are there. We need to start looking at how do we create positive case laws which are going to help further so that people get this thing. Other big one is the role of NGOs and community organizations. And corporates have a big role to play in this. So these are things where they can support. They have large CSR funds. You don't have to give your CSR funds to politicians and their groups. You can always use it for such things, and you want the publicity for that, do it. There is no problem. But that's something which I think is important. The next one is employability for individuals on the spectrum. It's a big, big challenge. We did a pilot. I have Jeevan and the team who are here. 2025, only 8 of them could get into a job subsequently. We don't charge a fee for that. It's supported, because if you charge a fee, then you have a moral obligation to do that. But some of those cases have come out very well. So we're trying to see how we can replicate it, scale it up. Many will not. But for those who can't, we are trying to do a model where they can be self-employed in a manner. The parents help. We just pilot out. If you go to the exhibition, you'll see a young adult there doing painting. He's one of the first people in our incubator program. So the parent is told that they can come help. We help them to incubate that from there, and we charge no rent for the first week. But then we start charging a rent, and we start multiplying it every month. So we are forcing them to move out. That's something which we do, and we hope that we'll see some change there. And again, the big problem is government has a quota of 4%, but government does nothing in terms of how do you get this person into the job. 4% is there, and there are lakhs of people working, so it doesn't make a difference. So a person with disability joins the government. What do? They'll see what he can do or she can do. They put them to one corner, they remain there. That way, private sector is better. They've got groups who work with them. They've got catalysts who work within the organization. There are some people, not that all of them do a great job, but still there is something that can be done. So we need to change the way we look at that in terms of that. Now, the main thing that all of us can do is actually, we need to promote acceptance. People need to accept that there are people with disability. We need to see how we can support them. We need to actually reduce the stigma. And the biggest thing comes from parents, grandparents saying, don't tell anybody. Give you a very interesting example of what happened with Tatas. How many of you have tried out this high-range strawberry preserve? Something called a high-range strawberry preserve, which is a very costly strawberry preserve done. Some of you heard that? Okay, I see some hands up. That's actually done by people with disability at Munnar. Okay, and how this came about was a very interesting. There was a gentleman called Krishna Kumar who was very close to Mr. Tata subsequently, but he was with Tata Tea, and they have these layams. Layams are where the workers in the tea estate stay. Very bad conditions generally. And people were refusing to stay in certain rows of lanes, saying that there's a there's a ghost there, kind of a thing. And they found out that there were actually children with disability. Nobody knew they were there. They were locked up there when the parents go for work. Both father and mother would go for work. And then they say so they set up a school there. And then from that they created a society called Srishti. And at Srishti, they do strawberry preserves. Some of the top fashion designers from around the world, again because of the Tata label, come there to select natural dyed fabric. And they'll tell what designs they want and they go. So the thing is that small initiatives by people can make big differences in the lives of individuals on the spectrum. The other one is how the media covers it. We'll need to see how we do that. So I would say, in conclusion, one, we need to have a clear vision for a supportive ecosystem. It's a collective responsibility. And we need to look at families, schools, communities, medical professionals, all of being part of it. The other one is always have hope. And I like what you said. Hope is important. Hope and possibility. There is a possibility. And I can say that every child, irrespective of the severity of a disability that they have, can be fruitfully engaged in some form or the other. We just have to find out what that is and then help them out there. They may be doing some very small job, but they'll be fruitfully engaged. You don't put them into a room and tell them do what you want. No. So that's something which I think is important. That's very important. The other one is, I think each of us here, if each of you who are here today, I know many of you are already parents or involved with this sector, but if you can talk to 10 people and tell them to talk to 10 other people to look at this change that we need in society, you will see a completely different kind of a system, a different kind of a place that we all live in. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Karan, for inviting me here. And thank you again for helping us to organize this exhibition. And it's a great honor to be able to accept our invitation and come here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Vijay Raghavan. I'm sure that all of you will agree that we have had a delightful evening, personal experiences of people who've lived through these experiences and are sharing their concern with you. So it's been a delightful evening. My personal thanks to the Kannan family, Pranav, of course, to Kajal Roy and Aditya, and of course to Mr. Vijay Raghavan. Tomorrow and day after will be the more technical aspects. Tomorrow we are looking at the medical issues and the changes that have come about also in terms of the medical understanding of what autism is all about. And there too, there is a sea change. And it's important for all of us as citizens of this country to know what autism is and to move with that theoretical understanding of what this condition is. And I emphasize this because there's so much misunderstanding, there's so many myths about this condition that it's important for us as, well-meaning citizens to know what this condition is. And on the third day, we will speak about what can be done in terms of the different problems that the children face. There is great hope if the difficulties are identified early and sustained assistance is given to these children, and then we help them to maximize their capabilities. So we need to look at both those sides. Thank you very much, all of you. Pranav, can I, on behalf of BIC and TCDT, we thank you for being with us. A little token of our gratitude. Kajal. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And thank you very much.